offer my most humble and prayerful salutations at Mother Sai's lotus feet. I am seeing my Guru Shananda Aunty, many elders, my revered Sairam and Pranams. In fact, when I tell you that Bhagwan is the one who chooses everything, so the day, which is today, 21st August, is one of the most precious days in my life. And I'll tell you how. 21st August 1986 was the first day in Bhagwan's proximity, the MBA program began. So today Bhagwan had inaugurated that program and we had joined Bhagwan's institute today, 36 years ago. So today we are celebrating MBA program. This day became very significant for me all through, but for another reason as well. And I'll share each of those reasons with you. We know that Bhagwan is a loving mother, mother of, we say, love of 1,000 mothers, which Bhagwan is. But he's as strict as a disciplined father as well. In 1992, Bhagwan had stopped speaking with me physically. And for 13 years, he didn't speak to me thereafter. And finally, in 2005 August, he spoke to me. And 21st August 2005, he made me speak in Sai Kulwant Hall and talk to me for quite some time. Probably heartful of what all I had been missing. And that program name, the program was named Reconnect. So today I would say it is Reconnect once again. And actually when sister said that numbers or speaker or elocution, it does not matter. What it matters is heart to heart, love to love. What Bhagwan says, heart to heart, come with me, come closer to me. Therefore, even if we are discussing amongst ourselves, I would say satsang has no number. It has only one magic, and that magic is Bhagwan's love. So, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity once again to be amongst all of you on today's date, which is very dear to my heart. I remember an incident when I speak of discipline, but before that, I want to speak an incident of devotion, love, and grace. I had a teacher here in Chandigarh. I was a very young boy, maybe 1975. I was probably in my 5th class. So she used to just enjoy when I used to tell her in school that I am attending Bal Vikas classes. She narrated an incident. I did not recollect at that time what was this incident. But later on, when I recollected this incident had occurred with her and her sister, then I realized the majesty and glory of Bhagwan's love. So her sister was teaching in Jammu, Army School Jammu. She did not report to duty for many days. And her colonel was a very strict disciplinarian. And he took her to task for not joining the duty. So she was in tears. And she said, "Sir, I was away to Chandigarh, Army Hospital, where I got myself checked up. And the doctors have detected cancer, blood cancer, and have given me life only 2 months." And she produced all the reports in front of this Colonel Bhosle. So this Colonel Bhosle, I'm talking of 1974-75 probably, when Puttaparthi was not a place which could be tracked or where we could reach through single train. One had to change many trains. So Colonel Bhosle told this lady teacher that why don't you go to Puttaparthi? I have heard that there is one Sai Baba there, and if he tells you your cancer is cancelled, then your cancer will be cancelled. So this lady, along with her teacher, both of them started in the month of May, hot weather, journey to Puttaparthi. And after 3-4 days, they were tired, jaded, spirits low. They somehow reached Puttaparthi, only to discover, to their utmost disappointment, that Bhagwan was not there. So their heart was shattered. But a kind bus driver told them that next morning, Bhagwan would be delivering his discourse in what is known as Abbotsbury Park in Chennai, the erstwhile Madras. So he could drop them through overnight bus at that place. And when next morning they got down there, by the count of cars, they could realize how busy that place would be. And when they entered that park, they saw a sea of humanity, all black heads. And at the corner they were standing, in front of them there was a sea of devotees. Bhagwan was speaking on public address system. On loudspeaker they could hear Bhagwan's voice. Bhagwan was talking about spirituality and karma and janma, according to them. And at a distant place on the stage, they could see an orange dot, whom they imagined to be Bhagwan. They started, completely, they were shattered. They started crying. They said, Bhagwan, we have come to you all the way from Chandigarh just to have your darshans. But looking at this magnitude of masses, we do not think that we can reach you. Both of them kneeled down, prayed to Bhagwan that Bhagwan, please accept our prayers and salutations from here, which we offer sincerely to you. And there's no point for us to stay back. So we will be now going back. So whosoever you are, please accept our prayers and salutations. As they turned back, one Sevadal came running towards them, asking who are Chandigarh sisters. So they replied that yes, we are Chandigarh sisters. He says, Bhagwan has sent Vibhuti for teacher sister. He arranged a glass of water mixed with Vibhuti and said, Bhagwan has asked me to convey to you, your cancer is cancelled. Please go back, resume your duties, nothing to be worried, and Bhagwan blesses you. Now, their despair was into a pleasant surprise now. It turned into. They thanked Bhagwan profusely. This gentleman, Sevadal volunteer, also handed over a packet of Vibhuti, good number of packets of Vibhuti to them. They were very happy. Once again, they bowed out to Bhagwan on that earth, thanked him. As they were turning, this man came running again and handed over another handful of Vibhuti packets for them and said, Bhagwan asked that please give it to Shivaji. So they were very happy, very, very joyous, very thankful, with full of gratitude. They came back to Chandigarh. And 2 weeks back, the doctors who had discovered cancer and 2 months' time had been given, same set of doctors were shocked to see no trace of cancer. So extremely happy at that, this lady teacher resumed her duties back in Jammu school. With a box of sweets, she approached her boss, Colonel Bhosle, thanking him that, sir, you sent me to the right place. And here is me with cancer cancelled. This Colonel Bhosle, probably what we call in worldly language, was not a so-called devotee, but he had heard of Bhagwan. So he wanted every detail, every minutest detail first-hand from this teacher. And she narrated everything graphically. He was so happy. And he said, ma'am, can you please can you please share that vibhuti which you got with me? I would like to have one for me. And this lady says, sir, why one? I can give you many. Because this Sevadal came again and handed me vibhuti in the name of one Shivaji whom I do not know. He says, I am Colonel Shivaji Bhosle. They did not know him by name Shivaji, but that was the love of Bhagwan which entrenched them to the brim, because Bhagwan's love travels and it shatters all boundaries, all restrictions. This story we had heard many a times, and this is Bhagwan's compassion that always encompasses us and blesses us. But probably while listening to such lovely stories, we did not know the amount of discipline that Bhagwan loves from each one of us. So when we joined Puttaparthi, while thousands and thousands of devotees would be waiting outside in the evening, Bhagwan would call us inside the interview room. And we were so selfish, I would use the word selfish for Bhagwan, yes, that 27 of us in the first batch, we would surround Bhagwan for good 45-50 minutes and ensure that he does not go out for darshans. While devotees are waiting, they are listening to big laughter inside the interview room and waiting for their turn to have a glimpse of Bhagwan. And Bhagwan would be virtually pleading with us, please give me some time. I'll just go for a small round, quick round. I will go amongst the devotees and come back. And we were so selfish, sometimes we used to say, no, Bhagwan, be with us, be with us. So that kind of joy he used to bestow on us. Now, Kasturiji has once narrated an instance. He was the manager of the Prashanti Nilayam. He used to look after the devotees and all arrangements. Now, he came across a foreigner, a young boy, who was so immaculate and disciplined. Every morning, right at 4, he would be at the Prashanti Nilayam Mandir, sitting silently for darshans, morning Suprabhatam, Nagar Sankirtan, spick and span at the darshan line, day in, morning, evening, and very disciplined in the kitchen, dining hall. Kasturiji narrates that so many times I used to see this boy, maybe 5, 6, 7 times in a day, and I used to wonder that how dedicated and disciplined some of these boys are. So he was virtually enamored by the discipline of this boy. Now it so happened that once Bhagwan had gone to Vrindavan in Bangalore, this boy walked into Kasturi's room and presented a problem. He said, sir, I have been staying in Prashanti Nilayam. My visa has expired and I want to continue to stay here. Can you give me a sponsorship letter so that I can pursue my spiritual goals here? Now, Kasturiji was in a fix. He would never issue any sponsorship letter without the express permission of Bhagwan. So after deliberating within himself for some time, he issues the letter to the boy in a sealed envelope and says, see, I never issue the letter myself. What you do is you go to Bhagwan in Vrindavan, sit in the darshan line, present the letter to him and saying that I have issued to you. And if Bhagwan approves, please only then use this letter, otherwise come back and return it to me. So this boy goes there in the darshan line. He displays the letter seemingly in front of Bhagwan. Bhagwan does not look at him. After darshan, Bhagwan calls for the caretaker of Vrindavan, Sri Ram Brahmamji, and says, I am leaving for Puttaparthi. Please book a STD call, because this is good old days, 1970s. Book a trunk call right now to Puttaparthi. Ask Kasturi to pack up his bags and leave Puttaparthi forever before I reach there. And this order needs to be complied in all strictness. There was stunning silence because nobody knew the reason behind this, but Bhagwan's order had to be complied. A trunk call is booked, and when Bhagwan reaches Puttaparthi, Shanti Nilayam Mandir, he sees Kasturi opening the gate of Bhagwan's car and receiving him. And the first question Bhagwan asked someone over there, did you not get trunk call from Whitefield? And everybody says, no, Bhagwan, we did not get any trunk call. So Bhagwan goes inside his room without saying a word. Kasturi walks behind him. Bhagwan does not look at him. Bhagwan does not speak to him. Kasturi keeps standing there. Once again, Bhagwan repeats the same question. Did not Ram Brahmam call you? He said, no, Bhagwan, we did not receive any telephone call. Have we missed out something? And then Bhagwan starts admonishing Kasturi ji. Do you know that boy, foreigner boy, whom you are seeing 5-6 times in a day? He is a drug peddler. You just get influenced by what you see, not realizing what people are doing in the ashram. He will be coming to you in next 10 minutes in your office and handing back the letter to you. He has retained 2 photocopies. Please ask for the photocopies and dismiss him from the ashram immediately. So Kasturi ji did not expect this. He immediately went to his office and the boy came. He handed back the letter. Kasturi ji asked for the photocopies, which the boy was also surprised how he knew. He handed back the photocopies and left the ashram. But Kasturi ji was wondering all the time that how could he fall in the trap, looking at the just outwardly behavior of that boy. Later on, he narrates in his very beautiful book, Loving God, that when Bhagwan is there to protect, he will also ensure that the call would not be matured. The trunk call would never be made to Puttaparthi. So he alone manages that. That's the way Bhagwan expects us, that we are disciplined. So this story we did not know at that time. We came to know of it much later. First year of MBA was a joy forever. Every day we would be with Bhagwan. We went to Kodaikanal with Bhagwan in April at the end of the session. We came back to Vrindavan, 1 month's project time, big visit of the factories, doing our project. We were supposed to conclude it by 26th or 27th May, but it overshot itself. By 31st May or 1st June, we were finishing it. Bhagwan every evening will wait for each one of us to return back from the various factories and industries so that he could receive us, give us prasadam. And sometimes he would wait till 8:30 in the evening. So every evening we would have a session with Bhagwan. So Bhagwan was showering his love like anything. 1st June 1987, the next year was to start, next academic year. And suddenly we came to know that we were heading for Puttaparthi on 2nd of June. And on 3rd of June, we were to be put to practical Viva test, for which we had probably 8 or 9 hours to prepare ourselves. And there were external examiners, there were internal examiners, and incidentally, my roll number was roll number 1. And when I faced the Viva, I fared very badly because we were not prepared. The concepts which were asked to us in the management, statistics, and quantitative method and financial management. We had come from heaven with Bhagwan, and suddenly to remember all those concepts and recapitulate all those things, it was a big ask. And all boys did very bad. And in next 2 days, an intimation was sent to Bhagwan by the controller of examination of the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning that Bhagwan, your first batch MBA boys who are blue-eyed boys of Bhagwan, they have done so bad, they performed so badly in the examination. And outside experts, they rated them very poor. And that was the beginning of our end. Oh, what all time we had. Bhagwan stopped looking at us, stopped coming near us. We were all pining, crying. But Bhagwan would never listen to us. We used to send letters every day to Bhagwan. Bhagwan would not read them. Sometimes registered letters were refused to be received. And we got back those letters with remark refused. So it was very, very trying and testing time. And how much ever we tried to please Bhagwan, to be near with him or speak to him, all those efforts turned futile. So finally, we decided an extreme step. Extreme step was physically catching Bhagwan one day and trying to apologize him. And lo and behold, I was made the leader of that group. So those days, Bhagwan would turn towards the ladies' side from his interview room itself, a distance of about 20 feet from the boys. So the plan was made that I will walk up to 20 feet, catch Bhagwan, and all other boys would run behind me and they will mob Bhagwan, will catch him and apologize to him. So that day, early in the morning, around 6:40, Bhagwan came out and we all caught Bhagwan and started crying, started asking for his forgiveness. But Bhagwan did not listen to us. Like a mother, whenever we took this extreme step, he would always be compassionate. But this time, he was extraordinarily upset with us. And after 10, 20 minutes of, that hustle bustle, he did not listen. And finally, he left for darshans and called Vice Chancellor and our dean and said, dismiss all these boys. I don't want these indisciplined boys, very bad boys. Make sure that they leave the institute today. And then he pointed towards me. He says, this Punjabi leader, he must not stay in the hostel today. And Bhagwan left for darshans. We were crying and we saw all the devotees were crying because devotees were also very upset that boys were crying and Bhagwan was upset. And Bhagwan, by the time he came back, finished his darshan round, we were told by the institute authorities to wait outside. So we all were made to wait outside the darshan compound. And then we were asked that we will be rusticated that day. So whole day we were crying. And evening by 3:30, we got a call that Bhagwan has called us for a meeting, interview. So in the evening, we went with the hopes rekindling in our hearts. And when we went inside the interview room, we saw Bhagwan was staying away at a distant place. Earlier, we would be all mobbing Bhagwan, virtually holding his feet and hands. Bhagwan was standing and Shri, the editor of Sanatan Sarathi, Shri Narsimhaji, he was translating Bhagwan's talk. Bhagwan was very upset. He says, you people have brought bad name to me. You don't do your work sincerely. I'm very unhappy with you. I'll never talk to you. You will study, you will complete your education here, but you will not be able to see me. You will not be able to come near me. And all those things for 20-25 minutes, Bhagwan lambasted us. And finally, we were asked to leave the interview room. We were very, very upset. Now, The October break came, and we were 28 boys. So we were asked not to stay back in the hostel for about 10, 12 days. There was a short break. So some 15 of us had left. They went to their native place. But about 13 of us, we stayed back. We were so upset that some of us stopped taking food. So it was third day in the evening after darshans. Professor Nanjundaya, he came to the hostel, convened a meeting urgently, and he says, I have come to convey a very, very sad news to all of you. Do you know, for last 3 days, Bhagwan is not taking food. Why? Because some of you are not taking food. He says, how can I take food when my boys are not taking food? He says, Bhagwan has given me the names of those boys, whom I will talk to them later and ask them whether they are going to have food or not. Later on, he spoke. I know only one, that is me. Other boys, he did not give the names. He asked me, are you going to have food? I said, sir, immediately I'm going to have food. I'm very sorry. Please convey to Bhagwan that I'm extremely sorry. So we rushed and had our food that day, but realized that inside Bhagwan's heart, there is a mother and there is a father. And the expectations which Bhagwan evinces from us, the burden, we have to bear that in a very, very immaculate manner. So then a different stream started. Now, Bhagwan would not come near to us. So what I planned was that, sorry, the planned word is wrong. So attempted that I would sit inside the bhajan hall. First 5, 6 rows, they would be reserved for singers and music boys. 6th, 7th row onwards, the boys, other than part of the music group, would sit. So I would sit there. He would come to bhajan hall every evening, sit there on his chair for some time, and that is the only time when I could see him, because other times he would not come near us. And the moment he used to come, I used to break down in tears, continuously crying. Well, it continued, I think, for 15, 20 days. So one day, I was crying as before in the bhajans. Suddenly, Bhagwan got down from his chair, went outside and called Chakravarti sir, who was the registrar at that time. So Bhagwan came inside the bhajan hall, pointed towards me and said something to Chakravarti sir. Now, I did not know what was the message, but in the evening, Chakravarti sir came to the hostel, called me and said, Amar Vivek, how's your study going on? I said, sir, this time I'm doing my best. I will leave no stone unturned to live up to the expectations of Bhagwan. I think the remaining part of the incident I discussed on the previous occasion also, the Sai Award incident. Then he tells me another thing. He says, Bhagwan has asked me that this boy does very good drama, so I will pick him up for Bhaj Govindam drama. So I was picked up for Bhaj Govindam drama. Now, the punchline was that you do very good drama inside the bhajan hall. So the blessings came, rehearsals started. Bhagwan would personally supervise each and every rehearsal. There were 45 boys, and they were all research scholars. I was probably the only one, along with one more boy, who was from the post-graduation. The rest all were PhD boys. So we were supposed to complete our credits, assignments simultaneously so that we don't miss out on them. And Bhagwan would every day be near and closer to us, telling us about our scenes, our dialogues. He had written each and every minutest detail himself of Bhaj Govindam drama. So it became a new innings for me. New innings, I would say, innings of hope that probably I would be closer to Bhagwan. Bhagwan will again bestow his proximity on me. So one day it so happened that Bhagwan was speaking to all these drama boys, and then he said, I want to give you something. So he called me. That was after long wait. Many days, many months had passed since he had called me. And he caught hold of my ear like this and tried making me wear an earring. So this was the earring Bhagwan was fitting in during Bhaj Govindam drama. This is that picture. So this was February 1987 Sanatan Sarathi. Bhagwan had sent me to Delhi in January 1987 to receive this national award. And this was for the work which I undertook in Seva Dal, in villages and hospitals and slums. And while I was studying in Bhagwan's Institute, I got this award. So Bhagwan published for the first time colored Sanatan Sarathi in February 87, and this picture appeared in that. So this is from that Sanatan Sarathi of 1987. He had gone with Bhagwan on a trip to Kodaikanal. On the way, Bhagwan stopped. So there was this holiday resort. There was an attendant who was supposed to attend us. But when we reached there, the resort was locked. So Bhagwan asked us to look for a table. We all searched the table and Bhagwan started serving food to us. Each one of us was served food personally. So for good 40, 50 minutes, Bhagwan kept on serving food to us. And he made sure that all of us had stomach full. And after 45, 50 minutes, that attendant suddenly came. And he was extremely ashamed to see that Bhagwan was waiting outside. He started crying. He fell at Bhagwan's feet and started begging his forgiveness. Bhagwan said, no, don't worry. Bhagwan was, very caressing and loving towards him. So then he said, Bhagwan, for 4 days I have been preparing to receive you. So why don't you come inside? So Bhagwan said, okay, we'll go inside the resort, that government holiday resort. So we all went inside. Bhagwan showed us how painfully this attendant had been taking care of each and everything. So Bhagwan was admiring him. Suddenly, Bhagwan motioned towards Brother Radhakrishna, who used to drive his car. So Brother Radhakrishna brought a packet and gave it to Bhagwan. Bhagwan handed over that packet to this attendant. The moment he opened this packet, he started crying. Previous year, this was April 87. So previous year, Bhagwan had likewise taken boys to Kodaikanal. And Bhagwan had clicked pictures with attendant and his family members. So one of the boys would have handed over those pictures to Bhagwan. Bhagwan preserved those pictures for 1 year. And this year, he made sure that he brought these pictures and handed over to this attendant. So much love Bhagwan showered on this. See, this is his perfection. So that's why I thought that I'll share this picture. This is Kodaikanal, April 87. Again on the way to Kodaikanal, all of us with Bhagwan. So this is the first batch MBA. Yeah, those very pictures. They are near that place only. So this is 21st August 2005 when Bhagwan asked me to speak at Pulwant Hall. 13 years in between he had not spoken. So these are the pictures of that memory. Reconnect. Yes, so these are all those pictures. So this is blood donation. I have so far Bhagwan has made me donate 159 times. So this is how the Bhagwan's compassion and love was. He would say that I catch you by ear so that I make your heart pure and I make it my own. Often he asked us, do you love me? So we would all vociferously tell, yes, Bhagwan, we love you. We love you. He would say, no, you don't love me. You see, morning till evening, till late night, you are busy in your own works. Sometimes you're eating, sometimes you're sleeping, sometimes you're chatting, sometimes you're doing this. Where is the time for God? So often we would find ourselves at crossroads that how do we convince ourselves that we love Bhagwan? So one day Bhagwan called us and says, if you love me, the only way you can love me is that you love my words. If you love my words, then only you love me. Otherwise, it is all joke. You can say 1,000 times, Bhagwan, I love you. That's of no use. Unless you inculcate those words which I tell you day in and day out, and to actually implement them, translate them in your daily lives. So, one of the words which Bhagwan had often told us was that please maintain silence. So, we formed a silent club. We would get up at 4 a.m. or 3:30 a.m. from in our hostel, then go for wash and Nagar Sankirtan, Suprabhatam, then breakfast. And at 8 o'clock, we were supposed to report to the institute. The classes would start dot at 8 a.m. We made sure that right from the time we got up till we reached the classroom, we would not talk. And then in the classroom also, we will try to maintain discipline, not talking too much. Then in the evening darshans, every evening, we will not utter a single word. We'll remain silent. So this is how we formed a silent club, and we started practicing that we will not indulge in unnecessary talks because Bhagwan had repeatedly been telling us that I don't like boys indulging in loose talk. Unnecessarily, you are talking. He always used to say that you are brotherly to all, but friendly to one. That is God. Only God alone is your friend. So have your friendship only with me. With no one else, you should have friendship. Now, the sports meet came, and we were supposed to participate in this sports meet because all the uh, activities in the institute are compulsory. Now, I also participated in one of the events. One fine evening, my physical director, he called me. He said, "Sir, you are not participating in any game." I said, "No, sir, I am in one of the cricket teams." He said, "But you are an extra player there." I said, "Yes, sir, because there are far more good players than me." He says, "I will give you the example of one support, one event. If you participate, I am sure you will be able to get prize directly from Bhagwan." He says, "Only first and second prizes are distributed by Bhagwan. So if you have first or second place, then only it is worth to participate in that event." So I told him, I said, "Sir, I am prepared. Please tell me." He says, "You participate in 10,000-meter race." I said, "Sir, my entire life put together, I have not run 10,000. What are you talking that I should participate in 10,000-meter race?" He says, "Sir, I am ready to prepare you. The goal is Bhagwan. If you think that 2 months from now, you are ready to participate in this game, I will prepare you for next 2 months." I had no reason to say no to him. He says, "Sir, next morning, 3 a.m., you should be in the Hillview Stadium." So I reached Hillview Stadium at 3:07 hours or 3:08 hours. The gentleman was waiting for me. He says, "Sir, you come from 200 meters, your hostel. I come from 2.5 kilometers, my residence. Yet you are late. Tomorrow onwards, you should not be late." I apologized to him. I said, "Sir, I will be on time." He says, "Sir, this is the ground, 600 meters. All you have to do is just run it 25 times. So first day, probably I ran 1 or 2 rounds. Probably it took me 30 days to complete all the 25 rounds. And the day I completed 30 rounds, it took me 2 hours and 52 minutes to complete 10,000 meter. Imagine I was running close to 3 hours. And he used to make me run right in the morning, right in the evening, every day. So the day I completed 10,000 meters, the gentleman says, "Sir, today I'm very hopeful that you'll win this race. You just have to complete it in 50 minutes if you want a prize." I never thought that I could do it. But I admire my teachers and their spirit because our teachers, they build us. How he used to work with me is phenomenal. I cannot even have words of gratitude for him. He would make me run to the hill. He would come and make me do exercises. He would come to my hostel. He would make sure that hot oil is applied on my legs. He would make sure that I get special diet, sprouts and all that from the dining hall. And finally the day came. When the last lap came, there were two boys ahead of me. They were twins. Both of them were ahead of me, and I was third. And there was quite a bit of distance. And I was feeling, Bhagwan, whether I will be able to make to second place or not. It seems impossible. So I started uttering Sai Ram, and I was running. Suddenly I saw both of them, they held their hand together and they crossed over the line jointly. So they were bracketed first, and I was ranked second. So the prize distribution function came. And when I reached Bhagwan on the podium to receive the second prize, Bhagwan told me one thing. He said, for 2 months, you are running. And while running, you are uttering Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Do you know one thing? I said, no. He says, I was running all the time with you. You know, this revelation of Bhagwan is so profound and loving that everything which we do in life, He's always with us. Where is the question of doubt? Where is the question which we often ask in our minds or monkey minds that Bhagwan is not with us? He's not listening to us. He's not seeing us. He's not, observing each and everything which we do. We all say we believe in God. We all say we worship God. But do we believe that He exists in flesh and blood all the time with us? He's watching, observing each and everything which we do. Are we trying to see that? I think this is the very purpose of Avatar being amidst us. That we have to bear this in mind. That He is not with us only on certain occasions and events like a uniform to be worn on certain days and not to be worn on certain days. He is all the time with us. We are not looking at Him. He is looking at us. We are doing something silly also, yet He is looking at us. We are not responding to Him. He is waiting for our response. He says, I am only a call away. But we are not making the call. In this birth, if we don't do, probably we will not have this birth again, this opportunity again. In our scriptures, it is written that probably 88,000 births one takes to get human birth. If that is so, this is our chance to see that Sai train, which has already started its journey in 1926, that is passing by us. If we don't board this train now, if we don't even catch hold of the handle of the door, or we get the reservation in the seat over there, then if we miss this train in this berth, probably we will not get this opportunity once again in our lives. So this is the time that we must start feeling, realizing, working, training our mind that every time, every second, every moment Bhagwan is with us. Unless we do it, we have no right to call ourselves Sai devotees. And when Bhagwan says, you love my words, we will have to do what he says. Charity, purity, divinity. He says the only way to attain God, which I have given you, is through Sangathan, Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organization, my Seva mission. So you do charity with purity, make yourself pure, make your lives dedicated to me so pure that I am able to accept them. Don't offer rotten food, rotten fruits or stale fruits to Bhagwan. Offer fresh flowers and fresh fruits. Our life should be as good, as fragrant, like a fresh rose when we offer it to God. It should not be smitten with insects. So if our lives are pure, we will get divinity. We will be able to reach his feet with that joy which probably Arjuna had, or Mirabai had, or Vitthal had, the Chaitanya had. So because, you see, this is the solemn message which Bhagwan has given us. And he's given us a channel of seva to reach him. So we have to model our lives on Bhagwan's mission if we want to attain him. I still remember very clearly one very beautiful incident when Bhagwan used to repeatedly say that you say you want to do something, but when you will do, you say I want to do something, but you're not actually doing it. Every morning we get up, we make promises only to forget them by the evening. By the time we sleep as ordinary human beings. Why I am using the word ordinary is that bereft of any love for God. We get up and we sleep every day without having any trace of God's love in us. And this is how every day we are passing. He says, the only mode of devotion I prescribe is transformation. Be a good human being. We must check with ourselves, recheck with ourselves. Are we becoming better and better, still better human being every day? Is our life such that when somebody looks at us, he says, he or she is Sai devotee. They are pure. I will say, if we are not doing, we are failing Bhagwan. I'm sorry for using this expression. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna had declared, he was describing himself. Who am I? He was giving all kind of synonyms. Among stars, I am sun. Among flowers, I am lotus. Among mountains, I am Meru. Among cows, I am Kamdhenu. Like this, Bhagwan was explaining to Arjuna, who am I? And then suddenly Bhagwan says, amongst Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Arjuna was taken aback. He said, Bhagwan, what are you saying? He says, I am the perfection of everything. He says, Bhagwan, how do you see I am perfect? He says, you don't have to say you're perfect. I have to say that you are perfect. If I say you are perfect, I will accept it. So in Sai Avatar, how many of us can say that one day Bhagwan will say, among so and so, I am you. So this is the time when we must every day radiate only Bhagwan's love, Bhagwan's message. And we all know that Bhagwan's 100th birthday is shortly approaching in next few years. Hardly any time is left. We all must choose a seva mission. We all must choose a task that we can undertake. And I am sure when we take Bhagwan's name, we can achieve anything because we don't achieve it for ourselves. We do it for Bhagwan. We know that it is Bhagwan's mission, it has to succeed. It has to be successful because Bhagwan came for this on this Mother Earth. He specially came for us. So if we have that confidence that Bhagwan is the one who is the achiever, there is no reason that whatever seva task we aspire for in his name with humility, love and reverence, that mission is going to be fulfilled. There is a very nice story. Once Narada asked Lord Vishnu that, Lord, who is your greatest devotee?
Yeah.
And he says, Lord, I always sing your glory. I am the one who is always remembering you. I am the one who is always singing for you. So I must be the greatest devotees, greatest of all the devotees. So Bhagwan Vishnu said, why don't you come with me? Let us go to earth and find out. So there was a farmer who was tilling his fields. So Bhagwan Vishnu pointed out towards him and said, see, he is my greatest devotee. So Narada started laughing. He says, Bhagwan, I hope you are not joking today. I saw he got up in the morning. He only said Ram, Ram, Ram once or twice. Then he washed his feet and hands. And then he came to his field. He started plowing his fields throughout the day. And then he added food. He slept for half an hour. Again, he got up with Ram, Ram. So whole day I saw him uttering Ram, Ram only 3 times. And you say that he is your greatest devotee. How is it? So then Bhagwan said, see, he is perfect in doing his work. Still Narada would not listen to him. So he said, okay, Narada, let us have a test. So he gave him a pitcher full of oil. And he says, Narada, what you have to do is that you have to bring that pitcher of oil from one place to other place, some 150 meters, and make sure that not even a drop spills. The pitcher was full to the brim. So Narada said, Lord, this is possible. I will do it. And he lifted that pitcher full of oil, brimming to the top. And he made sure that for 150 meters, he brought that pitcher without even a drop of oil to be spilled. So he says, Lord, see, I have done it. Then Lord asked him, how many times you recited my name? So it is not the quality alone. It is the feeling. It is not the quantity. I would say to remember Bhagwan all the time is that we need to be sanctified in the tasks which we do every day. Everything which we do, let us dedicate it to Bhagwan. And once we do it, I am sure, because if Mirabai could do it, and she could do it at that age, when we call it, it was still golden time. So in today's age, if I can stay away from so many distractions, and I can maintain my self-discipline, and I will make sure that I do my task in a diligent manner, remembering Bhagwan all the time, I think it is possible. It's not difficult. So all we need to do is put ourselves to practice and Bhagwan will help us thereafter. Bhagwan says you start any day. Don't worry about what you have done or what you have not done all these years. You start today. Forget about the past. The day you get up in the morning, you say today the day belongs to Bhagwan. He says rest all I will manage. So for Bhagwan, numbers is not important. The moment is important. The moment that thought comes to our mind and that we are his and he's all the time with us, I think that itself is enough. And with his grace, it will be possible. I can tell you that I was 24 in age, and when we got a gift of 27-acre land, probably people used to even mock at me, laugh at me, and ask me that how would you set up a hospital, school, and vocational school, and that will be free of cost. I said if it is my project, it will never succeed. But if it is Bhagwan's work, it will succeed. And I am praying to Bhagwan now, repeatedly every day, that Bhagwan, please make me set up a 1,000-bedded free hospital. I don't know when he will do it, but he will do it. So all we need to do is we need to have this, that Bhagwan is going to do it. If it is Bhagwan's mission, it will happen. I'm sure it will happen. Somebody has asked me just now, faith or experience, what comes first? I think I will be not answering this question to the best of my ability, but I will attempt. See, what is faith? My mother, she gave me birth. The moment she gave me birth, she gave me the experience of motherhood, experience of being her child. My devotion, my reverence, my love towards my mother, it was already born when I was born. All I need to have is believe this, that it is my mother who brought me to this world. So I would say faith and experience, they are synonyms. They are not two sides of the same coin. If we put this in the chain, this is a chain effect. So faith in mother and the experience of mother's love, they go hand in hand. For me, they are not different. I say each one of us is Arjuna, each one of us is Meera, each one of us is Hanuman. Only thing is, we are all sleeping like Hanuman. We didn't realize that we are Hanuman. The moment each one of us realizes that we are nothing less than Hanuman or Mirabai or Arjuna, I think we will be the achievers. So we will live up to his expectations. Only thing is we have to believe in this and start doing it. I am sure Bhagwan will take care of it. He has, very fact that he has revealed himself to us, that itself is the soothing factor that he wants to achieve everything through us. I'm sorry, I'm making a very loud statement. Please don't take me that way. But I say yes, he has made us capable. We have to believe in that capability. See, I remember one quotation. It is in one of the books Indulal Shasar has written, We Devotees, wherein he has written a beautiful expression that on a dark night, in a dark street, there is a hand holding the lantern, showing the light to the passerby. What matters is the light of the lantern and not the hand holding the lantern. So I am the hand holding the lantern. But if I have the light, which shows light to the passerby, that is enough. So let us not look for our failings, our mistakes, our, that feeling of despondency. Just imagine only one thing, that we are here to spread the light. We are here to spread Bhagwan's word. Because Kasturi also wrote in his book, Loving God, that God needs no introduction. God needs no propagation. God does not need loudspeakers. God does not need, people who should go and speak about Him. Does not need books and publications. But when the sun rises, how can birds remain quiet? They have to twitter, they have to chirrup, they have to shout to announce the arrival of the sun. So let us be those birds and let us announce that Sai is here through our actions. Whatever little can make our lives transform. You see, each one of us, we need to transform ourselves. That's all. So he says the only mode of devotion I prescribe is transformation. If that is so, let us transform ourselves. Let us model our lives on his mission. I think that should be enough. The rest thing will follow. If I become my own judge, if I observe myself, you see, I do so many, I undertake so many actions, but I am not judging myself. I don't observe myself on the parameter that when Bhagwan is observing me, is this action meeting the expectations of Bhagwan? Suppose I admonish my child for something, or I speak rudely to somebody. I'm just giving a very lame example. I say, am I observing myself? That Bhagwan is watching me. What would he have felt had he seen this action? So there can be no greater judge than we ourselves to see whether the transformation is taking place. The moment I become my own observer, I am sure things will change. So let us, each one of us, I would pray, that let us choose one mission of seva and make sure that by the 100th birthday of Bhagwan, we are able to offer that at Bhagwan's feet. That Bhagwan, in our lifetimes, this is one seva work which you have given to me, and I will live my life only to fulfill this seva mission. Because Bhagwan has said only through seva you can attain me. So, self-discipline, purity, unity, seva, and love. This alone will take us to Bhagwan's feet. We can always flaunt so many things, but unless we dedicate our lives, remodel our lives on Bhagwan's words, we will never be near and dear to God. To be near and dear to God, we will have to transform ourselves. We will have to change ourselves and choose one seva mission. Then only we will be justified to call ourselves as Sai devotees. So, offering my most prayerful salutations at Bhagwan's lotus feet, I humbly pray that each one of us who has been chosen by Bhagwan himself, otherwise there was no reason that we would know him, though it is a loud word that we know him. But yes, in this birth, Bhagwan has called us at his feet. So to justify ourselves to be at his feet, let us dedicate ourselves to Bhagwan's words and love Bhagwan by loving his words. Sai Ram.